welcome back. I hope you all had a chance to get a nice brew, maybe a cheese sandwich or something there.
With pickle.
Bit of pickle, nice, nice. So we're going to take a moment now here on the stream to chat with Richard. Now we've had a rest from Virtually Expo and an opportunity to kind of think ahead. Let's find out a little bit more about the plans and what's going to happen, maybe the 4th to the 6th of June, 2021.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, obviously, it is a time of uncertainty. It sounds like it should be a movie kind of voiceover, isn't it? It is a time of uncertainty, which it very much is. So, we clearly don't know what the future is going to bring in 254, is it, days' time?
Something like that.
I just had a quick look back. 254 days ago was the 13th, I think, of January. And on the 13th of January, if we'd heard of COVID and things like that, it was possibly that thing in China. It's amazing, isn't it, what that time scale has done to the world and events and conventions and everything like that. So I think that means it's very difficult looking ahead 254 days to be quite sure where we're going to be. At the moment, with new announcements this last week and constraints and lockdowns increasing, you would think that it's going to perhaps be difficult to predict the ability to do real world physical conventions in next year. And that certainly is on our mind is a possibility. It may be difficult in the early mid part of the year. I think we just have to be realistic about that. I don't think we're not going to sit here and say, "Oh, we're doing fine. It'll be it's going to be absolutely fine." On the other hand, there's a chance of things changing. There could be various things that might happen. Obviously, we're all eager beavers to hear about things like vaccines and possible treatments and maybe other changes that might occur that might make that possible. So we're very hopeful that would be where we can be in 254 days' time. However, we also have to work with the possibility that may not be possible, because if we just work on that plan A and that doesn't become possible, then we could be scuppered. and so we have a bit of a responsibility, really. We have a responsibility for to the industry, to the exhibitors, to the visitors, designers and things who are trying to get their games made and shown to the to potential publishers. And I think therefore we have to have other plans in mind that allow us to continue forward. So that means, first of all, getting to a point where UK Games Expo is still here in 2, 5, 10 years time, but also doing something next year in some way to be still part of that community and things. And we were talking earlier on with Patrick Games about the importance of community and so on. So I think it is important for us to be here and to be, and so how can we do that if we couldn't do a physical show? Then we have to think about do we do another virtual show next year. We obviously did Virtually Expo this year. It was put together in 10 weeks, and for all that we felt that we'd done pretty well with getting that off the ground in that time period. But we need to not just rest on laurels there. We need to look at the feedback and comments and things. So we are actively in a stage at the moment of feedback and comments. We've put out questionnaires to the exhibitors, and they've let us know, quite a lot of them have let us know how they felt it went in various ways from their point of view. And likewise, we've got a questionnaire out there that Kate will share the link of, I think, in a minute, for the visitors. So anyone that actually was part of, who came to visit Virtually Expo, we actually do want to know what you felt about it, what worked, what didn't work, what was just very difficult for you, what was easy, or what would you like to see more of. So far from the feedback, I think what we can say is there was the general feedback we're getting is that feeling of community and vibe and engagement was actually quite there for most people's point of view. They were particularly those people who got, the more involved people got, either got themselves into the chat or got themselves into Discord and into those channels. Those did feel there was some feeling of being at an event, feeling of being at a convention. So I think that's important for us to to maintain. And I think people found it easy enough to sort of watch the streams. They were well engaged with, whether they're our own or whether they were exhibitor streams. Where I think the areas of feedback are telling us we need to look at, and I think this is something that we're conscious of ourselves, is how easy is it to get visitors engaging with, say, exhibitors and each other. So that area of being able to play games online, being able to look at demonstrations, being able to talk and chat to exhibitors, that's very much an area that we want to see how that can be improved. Because I think one thing we found was there's definitely a sort of tech mountain, a technological level of mountain, if you like, that becomes more and more difficult further up you go. So people who just come to the site and looked at the site and were happy just to look at the streams and just to click on a few links and things, that was relatively easy to do. But then if you wanted to talk to exhibitors, you had to find your way through to the trade hall and to people's trade stands, and usually from there into their Discord channel, which meant you have to have a Discord account set up. And even though we put a lot of these videos together telling people how to do all of that, there was a sort of, every time you put one of those layers in, there was a percentage drop off. So out of 25,000 people who came to Virtually Expo, we found that perhaps about 5,000 people got to the stage of registering accounts and engaging with those badges and engaging with those, getting into the hall and things. So that's already a percentage drop off. And then out of those, around about half would go as far as then being on Discord and being actively engaged there. So the trick for us, or the challenge here, is how do we turn those visitors into participants? How do we make that easier, really? And so that's where we are at the moment, really. We're sort of looking at that process and also seeing is can we do that show economically, because we are a business. We need the business to survive to the next year or two, so that we're here to still be running conventions in the NEC in 2 years and 5 years and 10 years time. And we that means we have to be able to pay our rent and our warehouse and our staff and so on. So we can't do everything on nothing. So there's got to be some economic model here that works, but equally that's a challenge in the environment that we're at to make that work. So there's quite a lot that we need to be thinking about here over the next few weeks and months. I mean, obviously I'll turn around to Tony, I think, at the very end of the show, once we just basically closed down, and says, I do hope we're doing a physical show next year, because 30,000 square meters of space and 20,000 plus people and 400 exhibitors, that's easy. That's the easy bit. We've done that for 14 years in stages. This virtual business is a lot more difficult.
Tricky.
It's not as easy as it looks, is it? So I think that's where we are at the moment. We're I think we just wanted to come on and say we're still here. We're still looking at our plans for survival, and that's, I think it's important for the not just we didn't say this in a big-headed way, but I think Expo is part of the industry, and it's where in the UK it's where all the exhibitors come to show all their stuff and engage with their visitors, and we know of many designers that have got picked up by publishers and things at the Expo with their Kickstarter campaigns running. And I think we want to be here to be able to do that, to be able to provide that environment. That's what gives us the buzz, really. It's seeing those thousands of people and those little companies with their great ideas for games that suddenly go somewhere. But to do that, we've got to be here. And to be here, we've got to work our way through to that process of the next year or two. And we very much hope it's just 254 days. But we've just got to think outside the box a little bit. Consider what we don't want to contemplate, but have to be realistic to think about a little bit. Which is that we have other plans that we have to look at.
Yeah, and in the office at the moment, we've got two boards basically, and the left-hand board is the physical show that we want to run, and the right-hand board is the contingency. How do we make the best possible virtual show if we cannot run a physical show? Which is where we're at, and what we're going to have to keep doing.
Yes. I think that's where we are at the
Yeah.
moment. So I mean, we're having this feedback that's happening at the moment. In a week or so's time, we're going to be meeting up either in the office or online on Zoom or something with our graphic designer guy, with the what's it called, the user interface.
User experience is completely
That's the chap.
different to graphic design.
Oh,
This is
it's got a G in it, hasn't it?
this is the genius chap who, when we say
Yeah.
we want people to look at this and this is
Yes.
the things that we think they'll be interested in, he says, well, don't do it like that, have it like this, and then you can
Yes.
get through, and here's how you signpost it. He's the one that means that our website is very easy to use, and you can get to things in a useful fashion.
And then we have the coding chap that actually makes that happen, Tom,
Yes.
our coder.
Yeah.
Apple Crumble as he goes by on our Discord channel.
Still poking the Discord bot, the Q bot in the
Oh,
UK
yes,
Games
still
Expo. It's still like a naughty giraffe, I think he referred to it as last. You just now and again have to feed it some leaves and get it to recount the people in the queue, which is still operating, still ticking along. People are already queuing.
Yes.
So this dual stream of planning going on. Folks who are exhibitors, and I know a lot of exhibitors have very manic email inboxes. So if they scroll back, when would they be looking for the feedback form? Is it earlier this week?
It was about 2 weeks ago, wasn't it, Kate?
Yeah, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. It'll been a Thursday rather than a Blursday, so bear with me, caller. So that should have gone out on the 10th of September, and then last week was on the 17th of September. We put out an email and also onto our socials for anyone who actually visited the show as a visitor, not as an exhibitor, for their feedback as well. And that's the link that we've put in the Twitch chat.
Twitch chat. We'll include it if you're watching this back on YouTube or one of the other places we post the videos. We'll make sure to include that link in the description as well, so you can let us know how your Virtually Expo experience was. For me, it was very odd. The giant TV, and it had some of the feelings of seminars, but also it was a lot quieter. It was odd.
Yes, it was strange, wasn't it? I mean, I was obviously in 2 places that weekend. I was sort of started off at the office, and then we got set up a bit, and then I sort of came back here to St Coldfield, where I did most of the weekend. I'm doing a bit of Medusa, a bit of Expo, and bits and pieces, and then went back again to close things off on the other side. So that was strange, but I'm not being in a different location to the. And obviously, all of the Expo team mostly were dispersed around the place, around the country and things.
Yeah.
So a different way, and certainly not the way we want to do conventions. In that sense, we want to be in one place. We want to be in that big halls and things. But it's that sort of uncertainty that means we just have to think about other possibilities if if we have to. And we'll know more. I think in our heads we know that we're not going to know with certainty for some months yet. So we are. This is why we're planning on two streams, because we have to do until we get to a stage. Last time round we ended up postponing the show originally, if you remember, around the lockdown, when the lockdown started.
Yeah, originally Expo was in end of May, and then we pushed back to the end of August.
Yeah, so I think that point of early March would be the sort of very latest, because the reason for that is that you get to a certain point where suddenly all the various costs of buildings and hotels and all that sort of stuff starts to hit you. So you need to be getting to a point that you know what's happening, and exhibitors and things wanting to know what they're doing, and hotel rooms and everything. So I mean, from our point of view, I think we would hope that late winter, January, February, we're in a position to give a positive answer to this, and a lot of that depends on the science and everything that's going on at the moment, doesn't it? We very much hope that's possible, and I think it's not impossible. We're still hopeful there's a chance. And equally, I think we have to know that there's also a chance it won't happen. Now we look to people say, well, why do you do it later in the year and things? But then it becomes then you've got to think about all of the NECs. Dates for halls and things are jam-packed and crammed through the year because everyone's postponed and pushed into the next year. and also there are calendars and things, aren't there? The other shows happen at certain times. Although we did the Virtually Expo show in August, and we couldn't have done that at the end of May. We wouldn't have had the tech in place, and it was good to have done that then. But I think if we did a virtually show next year, it would be on our original date line in June. And I don't think we would be contemplating a. We could pretty well say that's not going to happen. We're not going to postpone into August or September, October.
It was tabletop Scotland gents who were very gracious about the change of events. So moving the expo to a later date kind of changes the sort of traditional board gaming calendar of the year, and it'd be at least good to get back to that nice sort of calendar and stay in that.
So I think we have our slot, as it were, in the calendar, which we're comfortable with, and everybody expects us to be on. And it's and once you move to different parts in the year, you disrupt everyone else's sort of dynamics a bit as well, and also even the likes of the exhibitors and things. That we were only 3 weeks after Gen Con, so of course everybody was planning towards the Gen Con. And we found out that what happened, of course, was that a lot of those exhibitors then only engaged then with Virtually Expo literally when Gen Con had finished, which meant there was this mad scramble in the fortnight before virtually, and everyone surfaced from Gen Con and then thought, right, okay, let's do virtually now. So I think being in our own window with a bit of clear space around us.
And a good bit of notice of 254 days.
254 days.
Allows us to do that, and I think I think that's where we'll be one way or another. And then we hope that we've got a plan in mind that means we can get through to a real world show in 2022. But obviously, we're still very hopeful the real world show is then in 2021. We've still got our halls in the NEC. We've got our hotel bookings, our reservations, and things in place for all of that. And that's what we want. That's what we would desperately hope to be doing. But this is about being sensible. Just with the present uncertainty.
But yeah, get in your feedback if you're an exhibitor. That email from around about the 10th, and then if you are a visitor, if you interacted with Virtually Expo in any way possible, just do fill out the info. Let us know how you found it. Drop some feedback on us. Feedback is so important about making 2021's version a little bit better and moving forward with it. We are hopefully going to make a physical show. I miss my Toot Suite. Just naming a Twitch channel, it just wasn't the same. We also shared, Kate, there is a convention we shared which I think looks very interesting.
We're very excited about this, actually. So this is Castle Tricon. If you've been following our social media and are subscribe to our newsletter, if not, please subscribe to our newsletter. It's all about gaming stuff, and this is a virtual show, but they've created this virtual universe where you can walk around and interact with people, and that's how they're pushing the show. And this is done by Heidelberg Games, who are actually one of our sponsors from the physical show, and did stuff with us last year, and we're planning on doing stuff this year. And also Horrible Guild and Czech Games Edition. So these guys are all terrific as companies. They've got together to run this Castle Tricon, which is actually named after a games convention that they host in a castle over Europe, which is marvelous. But so this Saturday and Sunday you can go along if you are a standard visitor. It's free to register. Please go and have a look and see what they're doing. Just trying to find where I've stashed the thing for that now as well. But it actually looks tremendous.
As the Minecraft sort of.
Yeah, I was thinking it looks a little bit like Second Life Minecraft style world.
Very much so. So that's part of the news article on it, just gone into the thing. We can stick these in the show notes as well. But you can find out more about Castle Tricon on their website address, which is castletricon.com, because it's very, very easy to say that. But they have a whole set of things sorted, and if you go onto their page, you can see these people wandering around. They've got these little avatars and things you can wander around in. They seem to have this little world that you can zoom down onto and then walk about in. So we're actually really excited to see how they're going to play games, how it's going to look. Yeah, it looks very cool actually.
I mean, I suspect the size of scaling that kind of thing up to a large show like a Gen Con or an Essen or an Expo would actually prove to be
a little difficult.
Rather difficult. But I think for an event like this with the 3 companies and stuff, I think it sounds really quite a good way of doing it, and does certainly sound fun. And let's have a poke around there and have a look this coming few days.
And it's interesting. So 24th is for media partners. So if you're interested in being part of that, then get in touch with them. 25th is for business partners and retailers. So they're also using it as a bit of a networking thing in business to business, which is, again, it's keeping people together. It's keeping the community together with that. And then 26th and 27th is for public visitors. So
everyone.
Head along, play some games. Tell people you went to a games convention in Europe. It's amazing. And a virtual world. Wicked.
Cheap transport there for that.
Yep.
That's excellent. Is there anything else we have for folks tuning in today, or should we remind them to come back next week at noon?
Yep, absolutely. I think we're there.
Next week at noon, we'll have another of our friendly grassroots game stores or similar, and another of our local content creators and reviewers to meet and greet and share the love with. If you have anybody you'd like to see us chat with, feature on the Twitch stream, do tell them to get in touch, or indeed recommend them, and we can maybe reach out and see if they're free. We love hearing all of your favorites and meeting all these folks. It's great. But thank you very much for joining us. Have a wonderful week. We will be back next Wednesday at noon. I feel like, at the end of, what is it, the 2 Ronnies or something, that's goodbye from him and goodbye from me and goodbye from you as well. Stay safe, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.